a big problem or interest in the community is what to do about the pool. And I guess I'm curious, what are your thoughts on the pool?
In my case, if they can show that there's an investment to where it support itself, that's the big factor that I'm seeing is if there's enough revenue to keep it open to maintain it, and that's the difficult part. Yes, it's a historic building area, so yeah, it should be, something should be done with it to preserve it or something.
Okay, would you like to see it reopened?
I almost think it'd take too much. I think it should just be a historical site more than anything.
Okay.
But, that's
right, and you mentioned funding for that.
correct.
What about other avenues for funding? With the governor's proposed budget, and he's tightening up everything, and he's proposing large cuts for small governments, city, local governments. What would you hope to do to continue funding programs for the Park District in kind of the face of that?
Well, part of it would come, like I said before, it'd have to come back to the community. The community would have to help support it enough to make it to work, because if there's not enough support from the community, it's never going to work.
Right.
It's a community-city combination, and they need to work together to get it to work, or if there's not enough support, it's never going to, even if you have grants coming in from the government and there's no support from the community, it still won't make it.
Mm-hmm. And what about other programs? Do you have any idea for other programs that you'd like to see perhaps the Park District expand on? And how would you want to fund those if you could?
Well, something I've been involved with for the past 5 years myself is I've been volunteering for the Park District, help running the farmers markets. So, I would like to expand further with that if possible. That's what enthused me to run for the park board, to try to have persuasion to one way or the other to see what, this way I'd be able to put a little more input into meetings and be able to try to persuade different programs and stuff.
Sure. What kind of programs are you interested in?
A lot of the sports and that, they've got some good programs there where they do the baseball and some of them others. The Park District's already got a lot of programs that do bring finances in, and that's typically, some of them they could expand more. There again, it comes back to the community support. That's like even with the farmers market, is the more community support you get of anything, that turns to revenue more for everybody.
People that use the parks don't necessarily live inside of the Park District. They live outside of the city of Dixon. They live, wherever. How would you like to, see perhaps a partnership? Would you like to see perhaps a partnership with the county or with the city to bring in more funding for programs?
I don't know if that really make that much of a difference or not. I'm not really sure on that. From my experience, there again, I'm gonna go right back to the farmers market.
Right.
Over 75% of the vendors that support the farmers market do not live in town. They all come from different cities, towns, and stuff. If they open up options, that's where it kind of opens up to where it involves other people, different areas. Good example, like I said, with the farmers market, there's sometimes 35 different vendors there.
Mm-hmm.
And 20 out of the 35 is usually from out of town and stuff. So, if you open up the options, it does bring in more options, and to where you could have more funding and
right, and more community involvement.
Correct.
Okay.
There again, it comes back to the community and surroundings all having to support it is the big thing.
Right, and that's your main.
That's the main thing I see is, the community and everything has to work together to make things work.